Hi, my beautiful Aquariuses. This is your astrology for all of October. I'm going to try to go through each and every house. I don't have time to go through every single aspect. I've been told pretty much, according to Spirit, just to go over 30 minutes, give the flat lines of what's important for the month. And then you can always check, the weekly healing messages that I do. I put on YouTube, like you are watching now, or on Facebook. You can always come back and check them. And then also, obviously, if you want your own personal private appointments of any kind, you can find all that information down below. If you do enjoy the tarot, go back and look at the playlist for whether it's your sun, moon, rising, or Venus. You may want to go back and check out what the tarot signs were so that you can find out what's up with that. Not the tarot signs, what the signs had to say in the tarot readings. But this is for definitely astrology. And like I said, sun, moon, rising, and Venus. Now, for me, when I do Venus, Venus is not going to be showing up as love. Venus is going to be showing up more on the ways of sensitivity. That just happens to be the way that it works through me as I read the astrology. So I'm letting you know that information as we move into that. Because if you're looking under the sign with Venus, with the idea of it bringing you love situations, I'm not your girl. You need to find another person. Now, with that being said, I'm just going to run down the information and then we'll try to go through what I see so I can give you that overflow of the most important information for the month. Obviously, everybody has been talking about Pluto going direct on Thursday, October the 3rd. Mercury is also moving into Scorpio on the same day. Now, I've been using like the energy that when I've been interpreting, I've been saying that that energy of Saturn going direct and Pluto going direct was kind of like, I don't know where you live, but here where I live, we go to King's Dominion, and King's Dominion has arrived. It's like the drop zone. And I feel like that energy of the drop zone explains this energy right now. It's an amusement park ride, obviously. The ride, it's like all the way around a circle, and you ride it. Basically, it takes you way, way high up in the sky. And then you just kind of like sit there. The idea is you're going to sit there, and then they're going to drop you down really, really fast. But they take you up nice and slow. It's a beautiful view, but you are high. And at first it's okay, and then you're kind of like looking around and when are they going to bring us down? Start getting a little anxiety about it. Like, are they going to drop us? Is it stuck? Is there something? Why are we still up here? And about the time you make it past that anxiety level and it starts to feel, natural, you're getting okay with it, boom, that's when the fall comes. I feel like this energy that's been going on with, Saturn going direct and now Pluto about to go direct feels like it's that energy. You're waiting for everything to drop. And then as soon as this drop goes, it starts to move on us. And that's here where we're going to be entering in October. You'll be feeling that energy as Pluto goes direct on the 3rd. Pluto, though, doesn't come out of retrograde and turn outwardly. Pluto is the only sign that doesn't ever go outward. It's death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. So it's resurrection. And it's definitely in overdrive up until the 3rd. Been kind of like kicking you in the butt going, what have you not been getting right? Because on the 3rd, it's going to start loosening up while Saturn actually starts to make the rules, laws, and boundaries shift for that resurrection. So I'm giving you the reason why that energy has been feeling like, and then it's going to fall. Mercury again is going to be going into Scorpio on the same day, October 3rd. Now on October 4th, you have Mars finally moving into Libra while everybody else is starting to move out of Libra for the most part. On the 8th, you have Venus coming out of Libra going into Scorpio. On the 13th, you have the full moon in Aries. But full moons I technically call like a 3-day period. So you start to feel it a little bit before and after. Now, it's going to be going from Pisces into Aries. And then the second day is in Aries. and then start to move into Taurus. So you're definitely going to be feeling a little bit of that subconscious energies of that universal 12th house, even though you're an Aquarius. That universal 12th house will still come with that energy, coming up with some of that unconscious energy, some of the subconscious karmic debts that are speaking to you, your self-deception, your self-undoing, self-sacrifice, some of the grief, sorrow, shame, and blame that you carry within your inner skeletons in the closet. They'll be showing themselves, so that as you come into that full moon energy on the 13th, which is a Sunday, you're bringing it to a new illumination. It's bringing its light up, so that the surface has to be changed, so that you can release, surrender, and let go what's not serving you by acknowledging what has been in that universal 12th house. Universally. Now for you, that full moon is actually going to take place in that third house. So that third house is going to be speaking to you directly of what unconsciously you haven't been speaking about within that communication zone. It's going to be speaking to you about, what's up close, like your siblings and your short journeys and your neighbors. Those informations that maybe you've chosen to turn your head, those communications you've chosen to turn your head and not necessarily address. You're going to be addressing them more come that full moon energy. But you're definitely going to be seeing it in communication in general, whether it's, emails, text messages, phones, face-to-face. You might have some word vomit going on with that as well, because we are talking about a full moon. It is definitely in Aries, so it's coming out of that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem that's not being spoken, not being acknowledged, not being addressed, and then going into the communication zone. So it's definitely going from what's been going on inside of you, in your head, and now it's time for it to bring it outwardly. But it will bring it to light, allowing you to start to move forward by getting out of you what you haven't been saying. On the 23rd, the sun moves into Scorpio. This is definitely a Scorpio month. I know that until the 23rd, technically we're in Libra season, but I don't care. Everything is still pointing to Scorpio this month. And as I get into each house, you'll understand better. You have the new moon, which is also taking place on the 27th in Scorpio as well. And then you have Samhain or Halloween on the 31st, which is going to be a major powerful day. First off, Mercury goes retrograde, which then asks you to back all the way back up to approximately the 14th and understand that Mercury will be going into shadow prior to that Mercury retrograde. So your communication is going to start looking at things from a darker aspect, from the shadow aspect prior to that retrograde. All right. And then you have the moon, Ceres, and Jupiter in Sagittarius on Halloween day, Samhain, all within like 3 degrees of each other. So that's going to be incredibly flippin' powerful. Jupiter is abundance, knowledge. Ceres is neglect or nurturing, depending on where you were taking it. And then the moon, when it's subconscious energy in Sagittarius. For you, that's going to be that 11th house. And you're going to be dealing with the community. You're going to be dealing with the community and where it either shows itself as being positive for going towards your wishes, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions with your friends, your community, your memberships, or where it goes against you. But let me back up and go into some other information that most astrologers aren't going to be speaking about, and then we'll kind of cover the houses real fast. Libra, everybody's going to be saying that, this is Libra season up until the 23rd, when it actually becomes Scorpio season. And they're all going to be talking about relationships and finding the beauty in them and making justice within them because of the beauty. And it's true, but it's not going to be as easy as that, because it's definitely looking at darker aspects. Like I said, Mercury is coming out of Libra, going into Scorpio. So for one, you're going to be shifting in between those two. Mercury, where it's also going to be going into shadow. Libra has Haumea and Make, or Maki, however you pronounce that, in its sign. And nobody's going to be talking about that. That's your collective consciousness with both Mercury, Venus, Mercury and Venus and Mars, because Mars is coming into these energies at this time, asking you where in the world your collective consciousness is within these relationships. But for you, that's going to be more of the 9th house. This is your higher self. So within the very relationship with yourself, as well as with your higher self, your true, philosophy, your religion, your law, your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges, your higher education of soulfulness. And where is that addressing what's really working within the relationships as well? Are they soulfully relationships? And are they soulfully keeping you from evolving or pulling you back down? Is part of what you're going to be acknowledging this month. And then, where that's taking the rules, the laws, and the responsibilities within the relationships. You're going to be acknowledging this because your collective consciousness is making you see these things. Plus, it's asking you about the lotus flower. The lotus flower originally grows in the muddy, murky water. Then it kind of starts to mature up into the frothiness, and then it grows all the way into the flowering, the blooming of the flower. And Spirit is asking me all across the board, why aren't we rising to smell the bloom? That's the whole goal here, to rise up out of the murky water, out of the frothy middle, and lift all the way up and actually smell the beautifulness that is there. But you can't if you can't find your truths. You can't acknowledge your truths, and this is part of what they're asking you. Vista is in retrograde. I'm going to go back and explain that when we hit that. Pallas is in Scorpio as well, with all these other energies that are moving into Scorpio. Pallas is Athena, the warrior goddess. She is asking you about strategic thinking with this communication and this energy of Venus that it's coming in on the universal 8th house. That's speaking to you of the relationship zone. But for you, this is going to be more of, it's going to be more of the honor, prestige, professional career, your financial success, your social foundations of that financial success, the duty, authority, and responsibilities within your life. So, and then you're going to also have Ura, which is still in Virgo with Mars, which is asking you about your inner warrior, your inner passion, action, aggression, your inner belly dancer. It's your sacral chakra altogether. And where's the sacrifice and commitment? That's going to be speaking to you in the 8th house. That's going to be where those relationships are and what are the responsibilities in the relationship. Now let's back all the way back up to the 1st house, and we're going to travel around the best I can before the 30 minutes is up, because I'm going to try to keep them at 30 minutes. And yes, I have a selenite wand right here. I'm trying to heal some energies of mine. Now, with that being said, in Aquarius, you don't really have anything here other than when the moon is passing through. So that's okay. That's not positive or negative. There's just nothing stressing or providing extra information there. You're just definitely in your Aquarius self. You're in a regular level of self-awareness, physical body, personality, appearance, identification, image, self-ID, the way you view life. There's nothing really changing in that necessary aspect. But in your second house is where we have is where we have Neptune and Lilith. This is your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. It's also how you create money and you spend money. You create money and you be able to manifest money to you when you're happier, when you feel good about yourself more, because then you are in the flow of being able to bring stuff to you more. So it's asking you what is going on with your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. Neptune is here with Lilith. It's definitely speaking to that sacral chakra about how you feel about yourself. And I say this all the time, it's your inner warrior, but it's also your inner belly dancer. When you look in a mirror, if you're able to smile and you feel good and you feel like you look good to yourself, that is, a self-worth, a self-value, self-esteem, making you feel good about yourself. But when you're looking in the mirror and you're kind of like, what the hell happened here? You're not comfortable with yourself anymore. That's also sending off the manifestation that you're not bringing to you things that are going to make you feel comfortable, like the money. Okay? You've got Neptune here with Lilith. Lilith is your inner temptress, asking you where you are in the sacral chakra. And is it healthy or is it unhealthy? Because it's playing with Neptune, which is still in retrograde. Neptune is where magic smacks you in the face with harsh reality. Neptune has the ability to create magic, but it also has the ability to create complete, utter confusion. I mean, like, you're watching the video right now. It seems like I'm talking to you, when in honesty, I'm off doing something else in the world by the time you watch the video. An illusion. It has the ability to create the idea of magic. Are you creating from nostalgia? Are you looking back in the mirror, back at your idea of yourself, the idea of your image, the idea of how you view your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, versus where you really are? If you are not comfortable in this, the question is, why? And what do you have to do to change it so that you will be comfortable? Because that will put you back in the proper flow of things. Now, with that being said, because otherwise Neptune is working with Lilith in a negative way. This is why that's the important question. Now, as you move into that third house, you have Chiron here in Aries, and this is where that full moon is going to take place. This is your communication zone. But Aries is also a starting point. So it's a brand new starting point. It's also a brand new place, because when Aries has the moon in it, it's a is where the meek gets strong. Okay, it's where the shy aren't shy anymore. It's where you're feeling pretty confident and brave and bold. And it's a very much me first kind of energy, but it's in your communication house. So this is why I said you may feel a little word vomity, but you will definitely be able to speak your mind, whether it's positive or negative. You just want to make sure that you are speaking truthfully what your soul needs you to speak, and what is in the depths of you, and then it should be fine. Obviously, the more positive that you find a way of speaking your truth, the better that it will be. But I do feel like in this full moon energy, things that you haven't been able to say, you haven't been comfortable with bringing to the surface, are going to start slipping out and coming out of you anyway. Now, the universal fourth house is Taurus. This is where you're coming through a new level of your inner emotional security, of your karmic lessons, finding reincarnation, so that you're finding that inner emotional security. You have Uranus here at this time. Independence, which is what rules you. Independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, the shock and awe of acknowledging the true depths of self, digging deeper in to find what emotionally makes you feel secure within yourself, and being able to find and step into that real self, to reclaim it, to return to it. But you also have Vista, which is in this energy at this time in retrograde. That's the soul fire. This is not necessarily a bad thing. You have it going closer, coming back towards Uranus in this energy. It's not moving incredibly quick, but the point is, with it being in retrograde, the soul fire is the home and the hearth, and is asking where that fire for your inner emotional security has been lacking. Because it's time for you to acknowledge it and bring that back home. Embrace its truths. In Taurus, though, you're not big about wanting to make the changes that have to happen in order for you to get right with your inner emotional security. But independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, Uranus is able to still shift that if you're really being truthful with yourself. It's about, are you being truthful with yourself? Are you allowing yourself to get into the depths of your true karmic self so that you can find your true self and reincarnate that inner emotional security in a new healthy way? Now you have the universal 5th house, which is your creativity, which is Gemini. There isn't anything specifically going on here at this time other than the the North Star, which is one of, I think it's the Polaris star, one of the guardians of the poles. They never leave this energy. So it's very curious, very curious. It's Jekyll and Hyde energy. You see both sides of everything. It's very either emotional driven or logically driven. It's one of the two. It's never really both. It's one of the two. And it's in the seeding of finding new hope, new birth, within the very creativity of yourself, your pursuit of pleasure. Your pursuit of pleasure and what brings you happiness has everything to do with finding your inner emotional security, bringing you back to being true to yourself again, and being able to step into the shock and awe of who and what you really truly are, getting back right with that energy. So that's definitely a positive thing. Then you have the universal 6th house for you happens to be Cancer. This is where your nest in the energies. This is also where the North Node is right now. And it's still more or less 2 degrees away from where the Sirius star really is. So this is telling you really what you need to learn to get right in order to make these things in your life change in positive ways. And that is your everyday daily task, your mundane tasks that you overlook and don't think that's important. These are the most important things about making sure that you get to that inner emotional security and creating your pursuit of happiness and bringing pleasure into your life the way you want. So I say all the time, your everyday mundane tasks start with your daily patterns, your daily diet, your daily habits. But even more than that, it happens to be the people, the places, and the things that you consume of energy are the people, places, and things that you consume of energy healthy for your daily patterns. Because if they're not healthy for your daily patterns, then your daily mundane tasks are actually manifesting in levels of working against you, not for you, because it needs to be something that's healthy and happy and helps you get right with your pursuit of pleasure as well as your inner emotional security. If it's fighting those two things, automatically you're fighting yourself without knowledge. Now you have your 7th house, which happens to be Leo. Again, nothing is here. So there's nothing going for you or against you in this area of these relationship zones at this time for you directly. So that's not a positive or a negative. It's just there's nothing there sprouting any information to be positive or negative, fighting for or against you in the actual relationship zone. However, as you enter that universal 8th house of what the rules are within the relationships, you have Mars and Ura still there. You have Mars moving in to Libra, on the 4th. So actually that won't count. You'll have Ura there. Ura is, like I said, for one, she's in the daily mundane tasks of that universal 6th house normally. But for you, that's your 8th house. This is, again, the relationships and the responsibilities within these relationships are the relationships giving you healthy energy. What you breathe, what you consume of energy, it's the people, the places, and the things that you consume of energy. They are the relationships of your life. Are they consuming and bringing to you healthy energy in the way of joint finances, joint efforts, joint resources. This is where the relationship deals with what it owns. Everything that is responsible to the relationship, from money within the relationship, like paying rent, if you're a relationship, a couple, or if you have a roommate, to end the relationship, one of the like for a male and a female, vice versa, if your partners, one of the relationship responsibilities are, sometimes it's paying the bills, sometimes it's sex. What are the responsibilities within the relationship? You're going to be acknowledging it. Yura is here asking you, is the proper sacrifice and commitment here to help bring this into a harmonious energy for transformation of healing, so that there are responsible relationships in healthy ways maturing and growing? And if they're not, sacrifice and commitment isn't in a healthy balance, then what's going on in the relationship? Why are you still maintaining it? Then you have the 9th house, which is your higher self. You have Libra here. What am I saying? You have the sun here and Mars here for a while still, until like the end of the month for the most part, because the sun moves out and into Scorpio on the 23rd. So up until that full moon, the sun and Mars are still in Libra. So you have illumination and your inner sacral chakra. You have, your core and your sacral chakra illuminating your true identity, your true core, your true shine. Are you feeling good about yourself? What are you acknowledging about yourself? And this self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, the true identity of self, because it's bringing you to your true ethics, your true morals, your true, spiritual urges, your true higher self, your true, religion, philosophy, and all of that higher education, which brings you back to the balance and the justice of finding your true self. You have Mars and the sun here illuminating what is supporting and what is going against you, as far as how you feel about yourself, and what are you in awareness of within the very core of getting close to the higher self. So it is definitely speaking to you. Then as you get into your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your professional career, your financial success, your financial foundations, the duty, your outside duty, authority, responsibilities of these relationships that actually help create the money, your honor, and your reputation, is where you're going to have most of this energy coming in. You're going to be having Mercury here. You're going to be having, remember, around the 14th too, Mercury is going to be going into shadow. So it's going to be coming into a darker aspect of where this situation with these financial success, where the financial foundation, where the authority and the responsibilities that build your honor and your reputation and your financial comfortability, where's this slightly out of whack? Because your communication is going to be seeing things from a darker aspect, because Mercury is going to be in shadow in Scorpio, asking you right off the bat, how do you resurrect the situation? Do you resurrect it? Because Scorpio is also about fertility, but it's also about, birth, death, and rebirth. So it's asking you exactly, is this something you want to hold on to and stay with? And if so, why? Because it's bringing the sensitivities in that are going to make you uncomfortable or incredibly comfortable, depending on where you are. Plus, you're going to have Pallas here asking you, what is the proper strategically thinking way of going about it? And you've got the moon and the sun illuminating it on the new moon in Scorpio on the 27th. So it's going to be definitely bringing itself into attention to you as you're coming into the end of the month. That whole 10th house, honor, reputation, financial success, financial foundation, authority, responsibilities, professionalness is going to be definitely, sparking your interest as into what needs to change and shift to make it more healthy for you. Now in your 11th house, you have Jupiter and Ceres. Like I said, its most important day is going to be Halloween or Samhain. Mercury will go retrograde on that day as well. But you have Ceres, the moon, and Jupiter in Sagittarius, which happens to be your higher level of understanding the relationships within your life from a higher spiritual, soulful level. And with Jupiter here, Ceres here, and the moon here, you're coming into a new level of consciousness, especially when it comes to that full moon. You're coming into a new level of consciousness of what these memberships are, these communities are that you keep, the relationships and the friends that you keep, and are they supporting your wishes, your hopes, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions? Are they supporting you or not? Is it nurturing where you want to go?